So I was standing in my kitchen and I was looking at this specifically. I was looking at this bottle of oil and it dawned upon me. I came to a realization. I don't cook with oil, like ever. Like I don't use it for anything. This is what we have. Avocado oil, vegetable oil, coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, more extra virgin olive oil because Costco bulk buy, you know what it is, and more extra virgin olive oil because it says extra, so we had to have extra. And last but not least, canola oil. Kirkland, Costco, bulk canola oil. So I'm looking at all these bottles and I'm just thinking, I don't use any of these and I never ever cook with oil. And there's a reason for that. It's not because I'm just trying to avoid fat and oil and it's just like, I'm scared of it, I'm running away from it. Like, okay, maybe a little bit, but I'm gonna talk about why I don't cook with oil, what I do instead, and I'm gonna show you some substitutions. So if you take oil out of your diet, but you still wanna get fat in, how I like to get it in. So let's jump right into the first reason. And the first reason is I just don't deep fry food at home. Like, if I'm cooking something that needs to be deep fried, I will probably air fry it. And the only thing I use is this stuff, which is spray oil. So if I'm gonna air fry something, I'll spray it with oil. And I know what you're saying. You just said you don't cook with oil, like you're spraying oil all over your food. Like, what a joke. You know there's oil in that. Yes, I know there's oil in that, guys. But it's not the same. There's a difference between pouring a jug of oil in and deep frying your food versus giving it a light spray and putting it in the air fryer. So these, basically negligible. I know there's calories in this. Yes, if you spray your food for a whole hour, there's gonna be a lot of oil on your food, but 1 second, done, doesn't matter, I don't care, don't track it. Small things like that, don't overthink it, don't overstress it, but just be careful. And if you're gonna spray your food, don't just paint it with spray paint, just light spray, guys. So that's the first reason I don't deep fry food. But the second reason I don't cook with oil is, let's say I'm sauteing something, which this is what I used to do when I was, fat. If I wanted to make a stir fry, saute some chicken, I would just put a few tablespoons of oil in there and then saute my chicken. And that was not necessary because today we live in something called 2021. And you know what exists in 2021? Let me show you. Non-stick pans, guys. I know, it's insane. You don't need to pour a bunch of oil in. You could just give the pan a light spray. You don't even need a light spray, but you can give it a light spray. And stuff doesn't stick. It's insane. I know whoever invented this, I want to meet them, but you don't need to pour a bunch of oil in. I used to not even think about the calories in oil. I used to not even worry about it. I would just pour a bunch of oil in and then, I would just cook with it. But then I realized that is not necessary and it's just adding a lot of calories that are not needed. And that brings me to my third reason. There are a lot of calories in oil that are just not needed. If you're making a stir fry and you put 2 tablespoons of oil in it versus spray oil, you're not gonna notice that much of a difference. Yes, your food might get a little bit crispier. Yes, it might taste a little bit better, but at the end of the meal, are you gonna sit there and be like, that was gross because there wasn't enough oil in it? No, it's still gonna taste good, guys. And that's why if you're adding calories to something and you can't even notice it, it's not even noticeable, then it's not worth it in my opinion. And so if I'm making a stir fry or if I'm grilling a piece of chicken breast, if I grill it in a lot of oil or if I just grill it in spray oil, the taste is almost the same. And the difference in calories is tremendous. You could save a few hundred calories. So yes, when you cook with oil, the calories are not that noticeable unless you're deep frying something and then yes, it's just cooked in a bunch of oil, but we went over that. I don't deep fry at home. If I'm gonna eat deep fried food, for the most part, I really don't because there's so many other options that I like more. Like some of my favorite foods are actually not deep fried foods. It's weird. Other than General Tso's chicken. Okay, never mind. I do like deep fried foods, but I don't have it that much. I don't need it. If it's not chicken parm and it's not orange chicken, I'm good with not having deep fried foods. Like, I don't think I'm forgetting anything. Not only is adding oil not very noticeable and doesn't make that significant of a change to sauteing and grilling and things that are not being deep fried, but also oil is very calorie dense. And I know you know that because everyone says that already, but let's just see what 500 calories of oil looks like. And no, we're not using tablespoons. We're using food scale. I'm a scientist, guys. So I have a tiny cup here. This is my finger and this is the cup. So my finger is bigger than the cup. A tiny cup. So I'm gonna use extra virgin olive oil because when I used to go to restaurants, I would literally dip bread in extra virgin olive oil and I wouldn't just give it a light dip. Like I would literally soak the bread in it to the point where the bread is soggy and full of oil and then I would eat it. And then I would eat that over and over and over again. So let's see, how many calories are you really eating? Because you're just dipping bread in oil. It's not very filling. It's not like it's a lot of food. but it is so calorie dense, all because of the oil. So let's see. So I need exactly 62.5 milliliters of oil, or grams. 1 milliliter is 1 gram. It shocked me when I first learned about that, but yes, it's true somehow, even though one is volume and one is weight. This isn't open. And now we're using this extra virgin olive oil. This right here is 500 calories of oil. That is not a lot of oil. If you're dipping bread in this and eating it, I don't know about you, but this is going down the hatch so easily for me. 2 pieces of bread is soaking most of this up, and it's going down like nothing, especially when there's pepper and salt and oregano and spices in here. It makes it taste so much better. 500 calories in this small of an amount. If you're bulking, right? Let's say you need to put on weight, like it is impossible for you to put on weight. Just literally just drink this. Sit there, 1 shot, 500 calories, 2 shots, 1,000 calories. Have yourself a 10,000 calorie challenge in a few minutes. For the rest of us, it's just not worth it. And I love cooking. I love being in the kitchen. I love just trying new things. And I've realized, and this is completely a personal opinion of mine, I've realized I don't want oil and butter and fat to be the reason why the food I make tastes good. Because I think it used to. When I used to cook, I don't know, 5-7 years ago, when I just did not care about calories and I did not know about calories at all, I would use a lot of butter, I would use a lot of oil, and yes, the food tasted really, really good. Like, think about some of your favorite foods when you go out to eat. It is not cooked in a little bit of oil or a little bit of butter. No, it is loaded. I don't want the food I make every day to taste good because it has a lot of oil and butter, because I think that's just setting myself up for bad habits down the line. For the next 10, 20, 30 years, do I want to be pouring a lot of oil and butter in my eggs every morning just to make it taste good? And then at night, grilling chicken with a lot of butter and putting extra butter on my potatoes and putting a bunch of fat on my food just so it tastes really good. Like, anything will really taste good with a lot of butter and a lot of oil. Like, think about broccoli. No one's really excited about it, but then you dip broccoli in some garlic butter and all of a sudden, it is delicious, and it's literally like a mop for butter. I wanna make sure that I'm making my food taste really, really good by keeping the calories as low as possible, maybe using spices, different cooking techniques that don't require a lot of oil and fat and butter to make the food taste good. But we still need fat, guys. I'm not trying to tell you guys just cut out all oil, cut out all butter, cut out all fat, no nuts, no peanut butter, done. We're just gonna eat protein and carbs for the rest of our lives. That's all we need, no fat. No, guys, that is not what I'm trying to tell you guys. We need fat, and I like to get my fat in different ways. So let me show you guys my favorite ways of getting fat in without just eating a lot of oil. So the first one is, if I'm gonna use oil, I'm gonna use it to make something like homemade granola, where yes, I get my fats in by eating this granola because I can use a little bit of oil. If I want a little more fat, I can use a little more oil and make it more delicious, but it's more volume, and it's not just cooking oil in a way that would not be noticeable. Like, this gets super crispy and it's using puffed rice and it's so low calorie. The oil just makes it super crispy and just like granola without all the sugar and the oats and the stuff in granola that just you don't need. So the first way I like to get my fats in is homemade granola. The second way I love to get fats in is chocolate, specifically Lily's chocolate. And you can tell how much I love this stuff because I have 2 unopened bags. These are big bags, like the bulk bags from Costco. And the reason I have 2 extra is because I'm running low on the bag that is open, and I do not want to run out of these, because who doesn't love chocolate chips? And the special part about these chocolate chips is they don't have sugar in them. The regular chocolate chips have a lot of sugar. Take all that sugar out, which removes a lot of calories, and you're left with a pretty decent fat source, because sugar is carbs. And so you're taking a lot of carbs and sugar out of the chocolate chips, which means that it is a fat source at this point. A serving of chocolate chips is 24 chocolate chips, and these are not minis. These are regular sized chocolate chips. It's 55 calories and 4 grams of fat. 65% of it is fat. So it's basically a fat source, and it's delicious. Like, would I rather have a little bit of extra oil in my food, or would I rather just eat some chocolate chips after my meal? You know what I'm picking. And did we even have to ask the question? Peanut butter is so freaking good. So why would I add an extra tablespoon of oil into my food that I wouldn't even taste when I could just save on those calories and then spend it on peanut butter? Because calories are like money, guys. You have a certain amount and you spend it on the best things possible. So I don't want to spend any calories on oil. I'd rather just spend it all on peanut butter. And I can't just have both. Like, I can't have everything. Yes, I would like to deep fry all my food and have a ton of peanut butter, eat a whole jar a day, and not get fat, but life's not that perfect. So instead, peanut butter is the way to go. And do I do this often? No, I literally almost never do this. The only time I eat nuts is if I'm using it as a topping for something. So maybe I'm having like a Greek yogurt bowl and I want to sprinkle on a little bit of nuts, but I'm never really just sitting there snacking on nuts. But for you guys, it is a great option. Instead of using oil, eat some nuts. More satiating, more volume, more crunch, more deliciousness. Eat your nuts. Not yours, but eat these nuts. Another thing I absolutely love is guacamole or avocado. These are perfect because they're single serve guacamole cups, so no, I don't have to open an entire avocado. Worry about if it's brown or not, because when you open an avocado and half of it's brown, is there anything worse? No. And then if I don't want to eat the entire avocado, I don't have to like eat half of it, paint the other half with lemon juice so it doesn't turn brown, and then put it in the fridge. Instead, I can just have guacamole cups, which are delicious. Each one is 90 calories and 7 grams of fat. Why am I struggling so much to open this? There we go. Single serve guacamole cups, delicious, super good. And then if I am using oil and I just want to have oil straight up, well, I'm not using it to cook food. I'm using it for Magic Shell, because the only time I'm really just taking a spoon of oil, putting it in a bowl, and then kind of eating it, well, drizzling on food and eating it, is Magic Shell, because it is so freaking good. This chocolate Magic Shell gets hard, so delicious. So if you haven't seen that video, go watch the Magic Shell video, because it's a childhood favorite of mine. It makes me feel nostalgic, and it's delicious. And of course, whole eggs, guys. The egg yolk is amazing. So another way, a great way of getting fats in is just eat the whole egg. Don't just eat cartons of egg whites every single day like I do. But I also eat the whole egg, so I eat both. But this is a hidden gem of mine to get fats in the most delicious way possible. High key, AKA high fat cookies. These are incredibly small. It's sad how small they are. When I eat these, I just want to eat the entire bag, but I can control myself. 7 cookies, 7 tiny little mini cookies is 130 calories and 13 grams of fat. This oil is 130 calories and 14 grams of fat. So it is literally almost the exact same. The thing about oil is it's straight fat. Whatever calories you're getting from oil is all calories of fat. So if you want to get the most amount of fats in the least amount of calories as possible, well, oil makes sense because it's basically 100% fats. But this stuff is almost 100% fats too. 14 grams of fat for 130 calories versus the cookies, which are 13 grams of fat for 130 calories. So a gram of fat difference, so much more delicious. Take a Chips Ahoy, shrink it down so it's a mini Chips Ahoy cookie. That's what this tastes like. These are so rich, so delicious. The only problem is they're really calorie dense, so you can't just sit there and eat the whole bag. Well, you can, but I don't want to because calories. But these are made with almond flour, so almonds turn into almond flour. Almonds are a good source of fat. It's not like this is made with cottonseed oil where it would make sense, like I don't want to get that kind of fat in. Maybe it's not that good for me. Almond flour is a pretty good source of fat. This is my hidden gem. This is probably the best way I've ever found to get a fat source that is basically 100% fat, but in the most delicious way possible. Let me know if you guys cook with oil, and let me know what your favorite sources of fats are. Yes, I avoided fats for a while, but I realized that is not good to do. So I have a fat minimum in my diet. I try to hit a certain amount of fat every single day. If I hit it, that's great. If I go way over it, that's great too. Doesn't matter. I just eat a certain amount of calories. I have a fat minimum and everything works out perfectly. So let me know down below, guys. What are your favorite sources of fats? Do you guys cook with oil? And thank you so much for watching this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new, and I will see you in the next video.